This is the new Porsche Cayenne. It's a facelift of the third generation of Porsche's big-selling SUV, and it's had a huge update inside and out. These are the 10 things you need to know about it. First, to keep up with the latest new car reveals and reviews, make sure you subscribe to our channel, and for a great deal on your next car, go to whatcar.com. While some sports car manufacturers are only just beginning to dip their toes in the big-selling SUV market, Porsche has had the Cayenne on its books since 2002. The 3 generations of the car we've had so far have been tremendous successes for the brand. This latest Cayenne is a facelift of the 3rd generation model. But the revisions are significant enough for Porsche to call it one of the most extensive product upgrades in the history of the brand. Not that you would notice by looking at it. The cosmetic upgrades on the outside of the Cayenne are pretty subtle. There's a reshaped front end, which features new look matrix LED headlights that come as standard, and there's also HD matrix headlights on the options list, featuring more than 32,000 pixels in each headlight. They can block out light from the full beams to not dazzle oncoming drivers, and the brightness of the modules can be adjusted in more than 1,000 steps depending on the driving situation. There's also a freshened up look at the rear, with the relocation of the number plate from the boot lid to the bumper. There's new alloy options to choose from, ranging from 20 to 22 inches in size, and there's also 6 new colours. The new interior is more of an obvious difference from before, and very much inspired by what you find inside the Porsche Taycan. The new Cayenne's dashboard is dominated by a full-width digital panel with up to 3 screens. There's a 12.6-inch curved digital driver display, which replaces the part analog, part digital display from before, a 12.3-inch central infotainment screen, and an optional touchscreen for the front passenger. On this 10.9-inch screen, the person sat next to the driver can do things like operate the sat-nav and adjust the media settings. It has also been designed so it's invisible to the driver, meaning they won't be distracted by it on the move. Aside from the tech, the gear selector has moved from the center console to the dashboard by the steering wheel, which has allowed the center console itself to be redesigned with some extra storage and some buttons to control the air conditioning. Thankfully, while there are some haptic controls in the new Cayenne, there are still physical buttons around, which, of course, are the simplest way to adjust anything while you're driving. Other changes inside include a new generation steering wheel, which, like lots of this interior, is what you'll find in the Taycan. But some of the most significant changes to the Cayenne are under the bonnet. This will be the last generation of the Cayenne to come with a petrol engine, and it's going out with a bang. The entry-level car is fitted with a turbocharged 3-litre V6, which produces 348 brake horsepower, which is 13 brake horsepower more than the outgoing version. Above that sits the Cayenne S, which swaps the V6 in the previous model for a turbocharged 4-litre V8 with 468 brake horsepower, meaning it can get from 0 to 62 miles per hour in 4.8 seconds with a top speed of 167 miles an hour. This is a unit familiar to what you'll find in the Porsche Panamera and Lamborghini Urus. There is also a power boost for the top-rung V8-engined Cayenne GT, which now gets 650 brake horsepower and clocks 0 to 62 miles per hour slightly quicker than a 911 GT3 in a blistering 3.2 seconds. The bad news is this range topper has been taken off sale in Europe for emissions compliance reasons. But Europe is in line to soon receive a V8-engined GTS version in the future. But the Cayenne has always been quick. What's particularly impressive among the new updates for this facelift is the alterations to the plug-in hybrid version. Plug-in power is nothing new for the Cayenne, but previous models never offered a particularly good pure electric range. That looks set to change with this facelift. The V6 engine from the new Cayenne S forms the basis for a heavily upgraded plug-in hybrid setup in the Cayenne E-Hybrid. The engine is paired with a boosted electric motor offering a combined 464 brake horsepower and supplemented by a larger 25.9 kilowatt-hour battery that now claims a very competitive EV-only range of 52 miles, which is pretty much double what it was capable of before. It can also now be charged in just 2.5 hours, courtesy of its new onboard 11 kilowatt charger. A further 2 plug-in hybrid variants will be added to the lineup later, including a hotter V8-engined turbo SE hybrid. Entry-level versions of the Cayenne now come with adaptive suspension as standard, which allows the driver to adjust the stiffness for a sportier feel or slacken it off for a more relaxing ride. Adaptive air suspension remains an expensive option on all but high-spec cars. Both setups have had some tweaks to them aiming to improve comfort and dynamic ability. The Cayenne was already an incredibly capable SUV when it comes to handling, but the firm ride wasn't necessarily a strength of the car. If this new Cayenne is even better to drive and more comfortable, then it will be tough to beat on the road. Bigger tyres are also said to be fitted to the new Cayenne. Just like before, the Cayenne will still be offered with a coupe version, which sacrifices a bit of rear headroom and boot space for a swoopy roofline. It's never been easy to recommend objectively because it's less practical and a bit more expensive, but if you like the looks and have the budget, you'll be glad the choice is there. Porsche is pretty famous for having an extensive options list, which always requires some hefty ticks from buyers. But the updated Cayenne is said to be offered with a greater variety of standard equipment than before. This includes the Matrix LED headlights and adaptive suspension, which we've mentioned, along with front and rear parking sensors, plus a reversing camera, 20-inch alloys and wireless phone charging. You're still almost certainly going to end up spending some time getting familiar with the choices among the optional extras though. None of these updates and changes come for free. Prices haven't been confirmed for the UK yet, but it's expected the updated Cayenne will cost from around £79,000, which is a rise of more than £12,000 compared with the outgoing car. That is still cheaper than the petrol-powered Range Rover Sport P400, which starts from around £87,000, but it is certainly not cheap. The Cayenne Coupe version, by the way, is expected to cost closer to £82,000. First deliveries to customers over here are expected in July this year. So this might be the end of the petrol-powered Cayenne, but the name will live on as a fully electric model. The Cayenne Electric is due in 2025, and while it will officially represent the 4th generation of the Cayenne, it will actually still be sold alongside this 3rd generation petrol-powered version. Details are scarce for this SUV's electric plans, but it will be Porsche's 4th fully electric model, following the Taycan, the upcoming Macan and the 718 EV. We're yet to know anything about performance or range, but it's been suggested it's set to cost 10 to 15% more than the petrol-powered version of the car. So that is everything you need to know about the new Porsche Cayenne. To see our review when we've driven the car and to keep up to speed with all the other new car reveals happening each week, subscribe to our channel. And if you're looking for a new car, head to whatcar.com to pick up a great saving.